Okay, my name is Justin Fisher. I'm from Brunel University, London, and I'm here to talk to you about our master's programme in Public Affairs and Lobbying. I hope you've all had a chance to see the presentation. I'll be going through that with you now. So the programme we have is a specialist programme, and it is one of the very few programmes in Europe dedicated to the study of public affairs and lobbying. I set the programme up around 13 to 14 years ago when it became clear to me that students wanted to go into this kind of career but were unsure as to how they should do so. Equally, it was very clear in my discussions with public affairs professionals that there was not a clear route for people to go into the industry, and they very much welcomed the professionalisation which could be afforded by taking this programme. So I spent a year going around speaking with leading public affairs professionals and finding out really two things. Firstly, what sort of things would they like to appear in a public affairs programme? And secondly, would somebody who did this programme be better placed when they wanted to go into the industry? Now, on the second question, there was a resounding yes. It was very clear from the industry that they valued this kind of approach and would see it as a good way in which people could be recruited. And on the first question, the public affairs professionals were very helpful in helping us develop a core programme which could deliver baseline skills which would enable people to work in a variety of different public affairs environments. So as the name of the programme suggests, it is designed for people who want to pursue a career in these industries. And employability is at the very heart of the programme. You'll get significant career advantages through the internship component, which all students are required to undertake. Coupled with that, as you'll see, we also have a number of presentations from practitioners, and these are designed to help you get a real idea of how the industry works. Now, in this respect, the programme has been very, very successful. Around 70 to 80% of our graduates over the years are now pursuing a career in public affairs and lobbying. And indeed, a number of our students have secured full-time positions with the organisations with which they undertook their internship. So there's a real success in the programme in terms of people moving on to their chosen career. Now, in terms of the career structure, there are three parts to the programme. The first is more traditional academic training in areas that are essential for pursuing a career in public affairs and lobbying. So we provide training in public policy, in understanding parties and elections, in business ethics, and in marketing. And these are all areas that practitioners think are really, really important for people who want to go on and succeed in this career. The second aspect is presentations from practitioners. We have a large number of friends in the industry, as well as our own former graduates, who come back to the university and make presentations to students on a whole variety of things, from a first year in the career to case studies on how they made up a public affairs case and how they presented their case to decision makers. And these presentations are terrifically important. They're not the sort of thing that you can incorporate very easily into a traditional academic course, but they give students a real opportunity to get insight into how the industry works on the ground and gives you a better understanding of how things will be if you pursue a career in this area. The third aspect is an internship with a public affairs employer, and I'm going to talk more about that later on. But the key thing to remember here is that all of our students on this programme undertake an internship, and that gives them a real step up when they want to pursue their career later on. Now, the programme is highly selective. If you want to apply for this programme, you have to make a written application, just as with any other master's programme. But students who pass that initial application phase are then interviewed either by myself or one of my colleagues at the final stage. And the reason we do this is twofold. Firstly, we want to ensure that we have the best students on this programme. Secondly, we want to ensure that the students have the best chance of succeeding in the industry. There's no advantage for us or indeed the students in recruiting people who we don't think will succeed. But a third reason, of course, is that the industry is relatively small, and so there's no advantage either for employers or students in recruiting in producing very large numbers of graduates. So for those reasons, we have a maximum of 10 places available each year on this program. Sometimes we recruit fewer students, and that's simply because we want to ensure that we have the students who are likely to succeed in the industry. But that doesn't mean you'll only be working with a very small number of other students. The department in which the program is based, Politics, History and Law, is a quite superb department which is very highly ranked for its teaching, its research and the wider impact of its work. And that means that within Politics and History, which is the part of the department where the program is based, we recruit something like 65 to 70 postgraduate students each year. So there is a large community with which you'll work, but on the program itself, it's a relatively small number of students. So let me talk a little bit about the program structure and content. The program is slightly different from other master's programs in as much as it's 15 months in length rather than 12. And it's structured in the following way. During the autumn and spring terms, you take the academic modules and also have the practitioner presentations. And teaching typically takes place over 3 days in each week. During May, you have your examinations, and then there is a window between June and November in which the internship can be taken. Now we have that relatively large window because for the simple reason that some employers do very little in August. So for example, public affairs employers in Brussels are relatively dormant during the summer period, and that enables you to take an internship where you'll get most out of the organisation. So it can be from June until August, but equally it could run later, and we have that window from June to November to allow you to do that. Now of course, if you take your internship straight away between June and August, say, that will allow you to either extend the internship if you're enjoying it and you're doing very well, or perhaps take a second internship to really give you a leg up in terms of employment prospects. By the December of the year after in which you enroll, you then submit a dissertation, which is the final part of the program, and I'll talk more about the dissertation in a minute. Now, the academic modules you take are as follows. There are 5 modules, all of which are compulsory for the program. The first is on public policy analysis, obviously critical for any work in public affairs and lobbying, and teaches you both about the principles of analysing public policy, but also the way in which public affairs organisations try to put their case across. The second module, Public Policy and the Challenges of Cultural Diversity, picks up on these themes and shows in a very applied way how policy can be changed and amended in order to ensure that all parts of society benefit from those policies. The next 2 modules are ones taught in our business school. They cover marketing communications, obviously very, very important for any career in public affairs, and then also business ethics and corporate governance. In the corporate world, and indeed in the charitable world, it's incredibly important to practice business with ethics and good governance, and this module really shows you how organisations seek to do that. And then finally, there's a module with me on parties and voters in the UK, and this gives a comprehensive understanding and analysis of how parties work, how elections work, and how voters make decisions. And that's very, very important if you're going to understand how to lobby at different stages of the electoral cycle, for example. The internship and dissertation component, as I've said, takes place after your examinations in May. And you undertake an internship of at least 3 months with a public affairs employer. Now, the way in which that works is that we have a range of public affairs partners with whom we work, and our students go to the top of the pile of any applications they receive. But as a preparation for your later career, we try and make this as much like market conditions as possible. So you apply for your internship, and the employer decides which of the students they wish to interview. Now what that means is that students are in competition with each other, as they would be in the job market, but also employers are in competition with each other for the students. Now, we're in a particularly good place in that respect because, as I've said, we're one of the few programs that looks at public affairs, and our students are very, very highly regarded. So the way in which this works then is employers interview the students, and then you take a 3-month internship with one of our employers. Now, if you are unable to secure an internship with one of our employers, it's then your responsibility to secure an internship with someone else. And that's never hitherto been a problem. As, in the 14 years, we've only had one student who was unable to do that. But I need to let you know that, of course, because we're working with an outside organisation and we can never guarantee how people will interview. But as I say, up until now, it's never been an issue. Now, in terms of the dissertation, what you do is it's a short dissertation, around 8,000 words, and that brings together academic training that you've done with us with the internship experience with the employers. And this can be a real bonus for students, not only academically, but also in terms of their future career prospects. So we had a student a few years ago, for example, who was charged on her internship with developing the social media strategy for her employer. And she brought together the work she'd done with us in terms of elections and parties, as well as public policy making, and really helped develop that social media strategy. And when she went on to secure employment, she was able to demonstrate with an extensive document how she'd gone about really taking the company forward. So that's all I want to talk about in the presentation. My name is up there. My name's Justin Fisher and my email address is there. I'm obviously very, very happy to take any questions now, but if you do have any questions afterwards that you'd like to put to me, please don't hesitate to email. So I'm very happy to take questions. Any questions you have? So we've had a question here about how internships work for international students. Well, in actual fact, the program is very attractive to international students. And so in that respect, the program works in an identical way. Most of our students, regardless of whether they come from the United Kingdom or from outside, tend to want to do their internships in London. And London, of course, as a very international city, is one where you can do your internship here very successfully, regardless of your background. However, of course, some students do want to do their internships abroad, and indeed we have a student at the moment who is taking his internship in Madrid, and we have another who is about to begin his internship in Brussels. And that's absolutely fine. We support the students in exactly the same way with a visit during the course of their internship. So the second question I have is whether or not this program can be done on a part-time basis. Well, we offer this program as a full-time one, but as a part-time one for students who are already in the industry. So someone who's working in public affairs already, who wants to build up their skills. Now, for those people, and I think this applies to the questioner here, the question from Ellen, for these people, obviously, if you're already working in public affairs, you wouldn't need to do an internship. So the portfolio, which is the dissertation and a discussion of the kinds of things you've done in your existing career, refers to those things rather than an internship, which a full-time student would do. So that's the only real difference. For a part-time student, for someone who's in the industry already, you do the academic modules over 2 years rather than 1, and then write an internship and produce a portfolio based on your existing career. Now, there's a question here from Sam. Is there a recommended reading list before starting the module? Yes, there are. Once you're accepted onto the program, you're provided with the various module, you have access to the various module outlines, and they include indicative reading lists for each of them. So yes, there will be. So do we have any further questions? Apart from the dissertation, will there be other assignments? So there are assignments for all of the academic modules, and typically they will be either 2 assignments per module or an assignment plus an examination. So yes, there are assignments, and these are designed to help build your skills, both your academic skills, but also your particular skills which are pertinent to public affairs. So for example, on my parties and voters module, there is a short assignment initially which asks people to do an analysis of recent opinion polls. And it's really to help you develop the skill of drafting a summary, a very quick summary for your boss or someone like that. So yes, there are a variety of assignments, all designed to help enhance your skills and help you develop it as a student and as a public affairs professional. Now, one thing that I probably didn't pay enough attention to in my presentation, but I'm often asked about, is the support that students get when they're on their internship. So the way in which this works is that you are assigned a personal tutor, and your personal tutor visits you during the course of your internship after about 4 or 5 weeks, and meets both with yourself and with your employer to find out the kinds of things where things are going well, if there are any difficulties, and really to make sure that the student is happy and feels supported. And of course there's also email contact throughout the course of the dissertation and the internship. So there's plenty of support for students, and as I say, in almost every single case we've visited our students on the internship, and all we've had back from employers is praise as to how well prepared the students are and how well they're fitting in with the team. Okay, do we have any other questions? Are internships usually unpaid? The internships vary, so as at a minimum, all of our internships pay people's expenses, such as their travel and their lunch, but some employers pay a small salary while others don't, and there is really no pattern as to which companies do that. And we make that something that people can negotiate with their employer, because again, we want to make this as much like market conditions as possible. So some of that, as I say, some of our employers pay, but some of them don't, and it's not related to their size, simply the policies they pursue as organizations. Okay, do we have any further questions? As I say, if any questions occur to you after the conclusion of this webinar, I'm very happy to take an email inquiries, justin.fisher@brunel.ac.uk, and those details are all on the slides which you've all received. Okay, I think then that's if there are no more questions, we'll call it a day. As I say, our apologies for the technical hitch earlier on, but if you do have any questions, please don't hesitate to email me, and I look forward to receiving your applications. Okay, best of luck, everybody.